Pinehurst, North Carolina, the final round of the U.S. Open 2005. One man stands on the 10th tee, one shot ahead of the greatest golfer on the planet. Around him, 50,000 fans are roaring, but not for him. They're roaring for Tiger Woods. The man they're ignoring? A 150-to-1 long shot, a guy who almost didn't even qualify. A Maori kid from a tiny New Zealand town who learned golf on a course where sheep roamed the greens. So how did Michael Campbell get here, and why did winning this moment cost him everything? To understand Michael Campbell, you have to understand where he came from. He was born in Hawera, a small town in the Taranaki region of New Zealand. Maori on both sides, his father from the Ngati Ruanui tribe, his mother from the Ngā Rauru tribe. Not exactly the background golf had in mind. In New Zealand, in the 70s and 80s, golf was a rich white man's sport. For a Maori kid to even pick up a club was already going against the grain. His father, Tom, was a passionate golfer, a single-figure handicapper, and he dragged young Michael to the course at age 6 or 7 to caddy for him. Michael hated it. He wanted to play rugby, to become an all-black like every New Zealand boy dreamed. His mother said no. That one decision quietly changed everything. So golf it was, and the conditions were far from glamorous. The first course he ever played, Patea Golf Club, had fences around the greens to keep sheep off the grass. At home, young Michael practiced with makeshift tees carved from his mother's toothpicks. She was not impressed. He left school at 16 with no qualifications and spent the next 5 years working as a telephone repairman. Not the origin story of a major champion, but then again, nothing about Michael Campbell ever followed the script. It was a single television moment that changed everything. Michael was 13 years old, sitting in front of the TV in New Zealand, watching the back nine of the Masters from Augusta National. Because of the time difference, that was all they broadcast, just the final 9 holes. And walking those fairways was Jack Nicklaus, composed, dominant, otherworldly. Something clicked. As Campbell himself later recalled, "Ever since I remember seeing Jack Nicklaus walking the fairways of Augusta National on TV when I was 13, I always wanted to win a major." That single image became the compass for everything that followed. He threw himself into the game with a focus that surprised everyone around him. By 16, he had already broken the course record at Taitahi Bay Golf Club. By 18, he was representing New Zealand in national amateur teams. In 1992, he became the first New Zealander to win the Australian Amateur Championship. That same year, he helped New Zealand claim their first ever Eisenhower Trophy, the men's World Amateur Team Championship, finishing 7 strokes clear of the field in Vancouver. A year later, in 1993, he turned professional. The telephone repairman from Hawera was now a professional golfer. The dream Jack Nicklaus had unknowingly planted a decade earlier was finally in motion. In 1995, just 2 years into his professional career, Campbell arrived at the Open Championship at St. Andrews and nearly pulled off one of the great upsets in major history. After 3 rounds, he held a 2-shot lead, the biggest stage in golf, the oldest major in the world, and Michael Campbell was on top of it. Then came the night before the final round. Instead of resting, instead of preparing mentally for the most important round of his young career, Campbell stayed up until 2 in the morning playing Minesweeper on his computer. The next day, he shot 76. He missed the playoff by a single stroke. One shot, one night of bad decisions, a major championship gone. What makes this story more than just a cautionary tale is what it reveals about Campbell at that stage. He had the talent, no question. But talent without mental discipline is just potential. And potential doesn't win majors. As Campbell later reflected, "I had a chance in 1995 when leading at St. Andrews after 3 rounds, but I wasn't experienced enough to win a major." The collapse that followed was brutal. Within 3 years, he fell from 28th in the world ranking all the way down to 465th, nearly 500 places. He wasn't just struggling, he had almost disappeared from professional golf entirely. But Campbell had a habit of reappearing when least expected. In 2003, after missing 12 consecutive cuts, he won the very next tournament, the Irish Open. 12 failures. Then a victory. That pattern collapse, then comeback, would define his entire career, and it wasn't finished yet. The 2005 season began as if it might be Campbell's worst yet. 5 tournaments, 5 missed cuts. At 36 years old, with no major and a fading world ranking, the questions were obvious. Was he done? Had his window closed for good? Then something shifted. A closing round of 65 at the Welsh Open gave him just enough to squeeze into the final stage of US Open sectional qualifying at Walton Heath. He was not in the field. He had to earn his spot from the outside. He earned it. On the flight from London to Raleigh, North Carolina, the city nearest Pinehurst, Campbell did something that revealed exactly how his mind worked. He opened his notebook and wrote down his goals for the week. Top 10 finish, a second-hand Porsche 911. Top 5, a brand new one. Then he took his golf ball and marked it with the number 997, the model number of the latest Porsche that year. Every time he addressed that ball across 4 rounds at Pinehurst, he saw that number. A quiet, personal reminder of what he was playing for. Not glory, not history, something tangible, something real. He entered the week as a 150-to-1 long shot. Nobody outside New Zealand knew his name. Pinehurst, no. 2, with its thick, rough, and treacherous greens, was considered one of the most punishing courses in major championship golf. Campbell didn't care. He had his number, he had his goal, and he was ready. Sunday, the 19th of June, 2005. Retief Goosen, the defending champion, began the final round 3 shots clear of the field. He looked unbeatable. Campbell was 4 shots back. Tiger Woods was 6 behind. For most of the morning, nobody was seriously talking about either of them. Then Goosen collapsed. He dropped 6 shots in his first 9 holes, eventually carding an 81. The leaderboard cracked wide open. And when the dust settled, only 2 names remained in contention: Michael Campbell and Tiger Woods. Campbell made the turn at the 10th hole, leading by 1 shot. Tiger was playing 2 groups ahead, and the crowd told the story better than any scoreboard. As Campbell later described it, there's a normal roar, and then there are Tiger roars. Every time Woods made a move, the noise from across the course was unmistakable. A birdie roar from Tiger didn't just travel, it pressed down on every other player still on the course. Campbell could feel it. He knew exactly what it meant. So he made a decision. He stopped thinking about Tiger entirely. Instead, he filled his mind with the car. He imagined the color. He thought about the interior, the wheels, the exact specification of the Porsche he was going to buy with the winner's check. Distraction as a weapon. Imagination as armor. It sounds almost absurd, a man competing for the most prestigious title in American golf while mentally customizing a sports car, but it worked. Hole by hole, Campbell stayed patient. He aimed for the fat part of every green, ignored the pin positions, and trusted his game plan completely. On the 15th hole, a poor tee shot left him in a difficult greenside bunker. He got up and down for par. On the back 9, he drained 12 consecutive successful strokes on the greens, an almost flawless display of nerve under the heaviest pressure. Tiger birdied to close within 1 shot. The Tiger roar that followed was the loudest of the day. Campbell didn't flinch. Then Woods made bogey on 16 and again on 17. The door Campbell had refused to open for him swung shut for good. Campbell walked up the 18th fairway as the champion, 2 shots clear. Even par for the week, the only player in the final groups who had not gone over par. The number 997 had done its job. Moments after the final hole, Steve Williams, Tiger's caddy, and a fellow New Zealander walked over to Campbell. He said simply, everyone at home would be very proud. Back in Wellington, New Zealand's parliament had suspended its session to watch the final holes on live television. a nation had stopped. And at the trophy presentation, Tiger Woods, a man who is never second, never third, stood beside Campbell and looked him in the eye. As Campbell later recalled, he's never second or third, he's always the number one, but he was there with me. For one afternoon in North Carolina, Michael Campbell had stopped the most dominant force in golf, and an entire country would never forget it. The celebrations were enormous and immediate. Back in Wellington, 120,000 people lined the streets for a ticker-tape parade. Campbell later said the welcome home was the biggest the city had seen since the Beatles. He was given the keys to Brighton, the English city where he had been living. A bus route was named after him. He bought the Porsche Carrera 4S he had been mentally designing all week at Pinehurst. And somewhere in the chaos of those first few weeks, the U.S. Open trophy itself got damaged badly enough that Campbell received a repair bill of £5,000. It was, by any measure, the greatest moment of his life. And it was about to become the heaviest thing he had ever carried. 2 months after Pinehurst, Campbell won the HSBC World Match Play Championship at Wentworth, at the time the richest prize in golf, worth £1 million. He defeated Retief Goosen 7-6 in the semifinal, then beat Paul McGinley 2-1 in the final. He became only the 4th golfer in history to win the U.S. Open and the World Match Play title in the same year, joining Gary Player, Hale Irwin, and Ernie Els. He was named European Tour Golfer of the Year. He reached a career-high world ranking of 15th. He was awarded honorary life membership of the European Tour. On paper, 2005 was a perfect year. But something was already beginning to crack beneath the surface. The problem with achieving the impossible is that everything that follows feels like a step backward. Campbell had climbed the highest peak available to him. And now, every tournament he entered, every round he played, was measured against that single Sunday afternoon in North Carolina. The standard he had set was one he could not consistently reach, and he knew it. He began searching for answers in the wrong places. He started changing his swing, then changing it again, working with different coaches, experimenting with different techniques, chasing a version of his game that kept moving further away. As Campbell himself later admitted, "There's no doubt I lost my hunger and motivation for the game. I struggled after winning the U.S. Open. I was changing things and diving into different ways of swinging a club. It was a complete mess." This is what sports psychologists sometimes call the winner's curse, a paradox that sounds impossible until you see it happen. A sudden, overwhelming victory can strip an athlete of the very hunger that created the win in the first place. The goal has been achieved, the mountain has been climbed. And without a clear answer to the question of what comes next, the drive that carried them to the summit quietly disappears. Campbell is far from the only athlete this has happened to, but his case is particularly stark. Before 2005, he had spent a decade grinding through slumps, ranking collapses, and missed cuts, always finding a way back. Adversity had always been his fuel. When the adversity disappeared, so did the fire. The results told the story plainly. Between 2009 and September of 2012, Campbell did not record a single top 10 finish on the European Tour, not one. The man who had outdueled Tiger Woods on the final afternoon of a major was now struggling to make weekends. In 2013, he stepped away from professional golf entirely. For the next 2 years, he did not touch a golf club. He was 44 years old. His major was a decade behind him, and the game that had given him everything had become something he needed to walk away from just to find himself again. There is a quiet tragedy in that picture, not the kind that makes headlines: no scandal, no dramatic injury, no public breakdown. Just a man who reached the top of the world and found that he didn't know who he was on the other side of it. The trophy sat in his living room, the Porsche was in the driveway, and the hunger that had driven him from a sheep-fenced golf course in Pattaya all the way to Pinehurst was gone. But the story doesn't end in silence. Cast your mind back to late 2005. Shortly after winning the World Match Play Championship, Campbell traveled to Washington for the President's Cup. At a black tie gala for players and sponsors, Jack Nicklaus approached him. He was warm, complimentary, genuinely impressed by what Campbell had done at Pinehurst. Then his expression changed. He fixed Campbell with a steady look and said, "Michael, now you're a major winner. You have a responsibility to grow the game." Then he walked away. Campbell stood there, unsure what to make of it, but the seed had been planted. Years later, when he finally stepped back from competing, he understood exactly what Nicklaus had meant. He established the Campbell Golf Academy in Marbella, Spain, where he now mentors golfers of all ages and backgrounds. He founded the Michael Campbell Foundation, dedicated to supporting disadvantaged young people, particularly those from Maori communities, through sport and education. The boy who had been told there were no Maori professional golfers on tour was now building a path for the next generation. As Campbell once said, "It was tough, people laughing at me and being told there's no Maori professional golfers on tour. So why not? We can make it. If you think you can do it, you can." In 2024 and 2025, he underwent heart surgery to correct a years-long battle with atrial fibrillation, a condition that had left him exhausted, irritable, and unable to compete at any meaningful level. The operation was a success. He returned to the Legends Tour, still competing in his mid-50s. 20 years on from Pinehurst, Michael Campbell reflected, "I can't believe it is 20 years. It was unbelievable to beat Tiger Woods, one of the best players to ever play the game, in his prime. It was the culmination of years of hard work. The sheep are still behind the fences at Pattaya, but the kid who caddied there, the one nobody expected anything from, left a mark on the game that time has not erased, and perhaps never will."